So we've spent some time practicing simple retrievals, and now we want to start looking a little bit at compound conditions. And a compound condition is formed by connecting two or more simple conditions using one or both of the operators and or. You can also precede a single condition with the not operator to negate a condition. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but I think that as we start to look at some examples, it'll start to make more sense. So for the first example that we're going to do, we want to list the descriptions of all parts that are located in Warehouse 3 and for which there are more than 20 units on hand. And in the book, this example can be found on page 82. So again, I've just created a new query and I'm looking at the SQL view, and I'm still going to use the select from where command. So I'm going to once again start by typing select, and then I will tell the fields which need to be included. And looking at the example, it looks like the only field that I need to use is descriptions. So we have been using the customer table, but in this one we're going to look at the part table. So let's just take a quick look at that table. We do have the fields part number, description, on hand, class, warehouse, and price. So those are going to be our options for fields, and this is the part table. And in this example, we do want to list the descriptions, which is one of our fields, of all the parts that are located in Warehouse 3, and warehouse is another field, and for which there are more than 20 units. And that is going to be pulling from the on hand field. So looking back at where I started typing in my commands, I am selecting, as we said, the description field from the part table where, and in this case I have two different conditions. First of all, they have to be in Warehouse 3. So the field is warehouse, and it needs to be from Warehouse 3. So again, 3 I'm going to have to put in those single quotes as we learned a little bit earlier. But I'm not done with my conditions because there also have to be more than 20 units. So I'm going to make sure that my command says where the warehouse is 3 and on hand, which is where I get the units from. Remember that field was named on hand, is greater than 20. So now when I run this command, there are 3 results, which looks like it is correct. So now let's look at the same example. So I'm just going to create another query and switch back over to SQL view. But in this case, let's select or list the descriptions of all parts that are located in Warehouse 3 or for which there are more than 20 units. So the only thing we're changing is that and or condition. Instead of using and, we'll be using or. So everything else can stay the same. So I'm still saying I'm selecting the description field from that part table where the warehouse equals 3, and remember I do have to put that in single quotes, or the on-hand number of units is greater than 20. So again, the only thing I changed was right here. I used or instead of and when I run it, you see that I get different results than I did in my last query where both conditions had to be met. So you can practice using compound conditions a little bit more on pages 84 and 85.